Manchester United 1, Fulham 0, and we will take those much-needed 3 points as we move to 12th in the league, and it looks like relegation will not be happening for us. Fingers crossed, and it shouldn't be happening for us, but that was a game that had draw written all over it. Look at the XG, 0.67 to 0.25, and I think 90% of Fulham's XG probably came from that Toby Collyer headed clearance, which was, honestly, he won us 2 points today just from clearing that. So big prop to him in what was a game with draw written all over it. But considering we just haven't had much luck this season, I think we needed the luck with the Leacher goal and the deflection. And considering the goal that Mainoo and Ahmad scored, which was ruled out for offside, when I think it was one of those, but they didn't know if it was offside or not. So we'll just give it offside because it's probably on the line. Because I looked at the lines, I thought, oh, you know what? They might give that, they might not. I don't think they really knew, which was annoying because it was an amazing goal and I had the Ahmad FPL points I was hoping for. But we move on. I want to talk about Manchester United. I want to talk about what we learned from the game because 77 minutes of that game, let's be honest, guys, was a complete snooze fest. I was bored. I thought, I thought we could play for 3 hours and not score. I felt like that versus Brighton. I thought we're not going to score an open play for 3 hours. And I think for us to score, we need mistakes, a bit of luck to go our way because we're not creating enough. But all of a sudden, the last 10 minutes of that game, Man United woke. I enjoyed watching the last 10 minutes. I didn't enjoy the first 70 minutes. Ahmad and Mainoo were just linking up in those last 10 minutes. And they are two of our most technically gifted players, by the way, which is exactly what the game was missing. We had workhorses. We had players doing well. Off the ball, we defended well. We worked well. We worked incredibly hard, but we were lacking that technical quality. Rasmus Hojlund's first touch today was atrocious, kicking the ball away. But we had players like Ahmad and Mainoo in those last 10 minutes doing those little 1-2s, running off each other, not just for the goal, but there's a couple times where Mainoo was being fouled actually quite up high in those wide spaces. Ahmad was running off, and in those tight spaces, we were getting the ball moving and we were breaking down Fulham's low block. And now Fulham are statistically, if you look at, I think, XG conceded, the third best team in the Premier League this season for XG conceded, or fourth. I think Liverpool is first, Forest second. I think Fulham are actually third, or it's Arsenal, the third or fourth. I can't remember because I checked that stat like 2 weeks ago, so it might have changed. But I felt that we were starting to open them up. And I was thinking now, I don't see Mainoo as a 10 in Amorim's system. But I think if the left 10 wasn't Bruno and it was someone with a bit of pace that could play off Cirques and a bit of energy, and we had proper wing-backs, Mainoo right 10, Ahmad right wing-back, and Euro Mazraoui right centre-back, we might build those technical qualities in triangles. Because we saw it in the Man City game. Mainoo and Ahmad seem to link up very well. They have a good understanding. And I think physically, we've got a little bit better off the ball under Amorim. We saw it in the big games versus Arsenal. We saw it in the big game versus City, Liverpool. So I want to see the technical levels go up because I think that's what we lacked. And this is my breakdown from the game. You know, we needed some luck. 77 minutes without a shot on target today was worrying. Collyer, fantastic when he came on. What a clearance. He's continuing to impress. I always worried, and I said this last month, we don't have an Agate backup. If Agate is injured, we're screwed. He's the only guy with the legs. You know, when he doesn't play, we're horrific. We saw that versus Newcastle, Eriksen and Casemiro. But I think in Collyer, we've got someone that we can rotate Agate with because he can also do that groundwork. Now, I thought Agate had a very tidy game, but it's nice to actually not have to run Agate into the ground and have that option. Mainoo and Bruno can rotate as the pivot player next to Agate. Agate and Collyer can rotate. So I actually think we're in a position where we could sell Casemiro. We maybe look at someone like an Edison, or to be honest, I think we need, if we're going to move Mainoo to 10 long term, but Amorim hasn't done that yet, maybe someone with a bit more technical quality in the pivot. But yeah, I liked that. I like Collyer, very good player, ground coverer, workhorse, but he putting in a shift. He does more than just off the ball work. Good defender, won us the points today. Mazraoui, I don't like him at wing back. He is a centre back in a back four. So if you're going to play a back three and have attacking wing backs ahead of him, he's essentially just a wide channel defender. Mazraoui was really good in the first few games under Amorim at right centre back. Since we've been playing Delo and Mazraoui at wing back, it's not been as good. Now, I don't really want Ahmad wasted at wing back because of how good his qualities are, but at the same time, I think that's our best option because Mazraoui is much better at right centre back and Ahmad can progress the ball forward in games like that. I think in games like Arsenal, Liverpool, we need to defend Ahmad 10, Mazraoui wing back. But in games where we want to score and break down the teams, Mazraoui for me, right centre back. I thought two defensive fullbacks don't work. I don't mind the low left wing back if Ahmad's right wing back. Same with Mazraoui. But I don't want Malacia and Delo or Mazraoui and Delo as a fullback pairing. All in all, the defence did well. I thought defensively we did very well. But I will say this. The attack was very disconnected, particularly in the first half. Hojlund's touch, his hold-up play was not good enough. I like Hojlund. I think he has potential to become a good player, but he's not good enough right now, and he needs to hold the bench. I'm going to talk about that in more detail in a second. I thought Ahmad was marked out of the game in the first half, and when Ahmad does nothing, nothing happens in attack. Ahmad and Bruno are the two players, I've always said this season, that can make something happen out of nothing, but if they get marked out of the game, very little's going to happen. I think Garnacho was probably the most lively of the attackers, and maybe we could have tried him left wing-back, maybe Ahmad right wing-back, got an extra attacker on there, but with no Anthony and Rashford, Rashford, we probably could have used another attacking option today. And this is why, if Rashford does go, we need to bring in another attacker. And I think Rashford will go because we could have really used him on the bench today, let's be honest. But honestly, I felt like if the game was 4 hours long, we wouldn't have scored. So thank you very much, Lisandro Martinez. I thought Garnacho looked eager. I think there was a bit of play in the first half. Nice touch, nice ball round. But obviously for the goal, he actually did really well there as well. I thought he took on his man. He looked a lot better, a lot more tidy. Slow and steady improvements for Garnacho. Still not back to his best, but I thought, you know what? He showed a bit of something today, and I like that. It's about confidence, and I think he will take some confidence from that game. We lack technical quality outside Licha, Mainoo, and Ahmad. 100%, we lack that technical quality, and you can see that. We can do all this off the ball, and but as soon as he gets to the final third or playing out and actually being on the ball, we lack, and that's something that we definitely need to recruit. I think we need to recruit to improve the physical flooring, of course, but I definitely think the technical quality is something that he's working on, because we played some boring football. But shout out to Euro for a very tidy cameo, and I think Amorim got that spot on. Adama Traore comes on. Yeah, let's get Euro on. Poor Euro's had Suleiman and Adama Traore, but very, very good cameo from Euro. And I've always said this. He didn't have a good game versus Southampton, but I think in all his cameos, Euro has impressed. So, let's talk about this. So, this is the vision I'm seeing. Xerxes, Mainoo. I would like Cunha. But he only comes if Garnacho goes. I think Rashford is still better than Garnacho, but we have to just assume Rashford is no longer part of the squad. Let's be honest. Front three. Ahmad wing back for now, although we could go Delo for the left wing back with Ahmad being more attacking. Agate, Bruno. That's the lineup I'm thinking, because I'm thinking this could, not like the big games like Arsenal, but the games where we are going to have a bit more of the ball and expect to break teams down. I'm feeling something like this lineup. Maybe that's just me, but I'm feeling actually this could be something to work with. And it was probably an unpopular opinion, but I wasn't the big idea of Mainoo in the 10 because of the lack of athleticism and pace. But I actually think that control he'll give us is probably what we need right now. But I want to continue and talk about Rasmus Hojlund, who I think could be on the way out. And this was my sort of analysis of Rasmus Hojlund, because I want to be fair on the player. I'm not someone that's going to jump on his back. I still believe Rasmus Hojlund can become a good player for Manchester United, but this is how I feel about him. Hojlund frustrates me. He hasn't progressed this season. I'm all for backing a young player in a poor environment, especially one doing the graveyard shift, but I need to see elements of his game developing, like hold-up play, touch, and movement. It hasn't this season. He's young and definitely has lots of potential. When confident and running at goal, he's dangerous, but he needs to show more. When given service, he's clinical, but he doesn't show enough in games. I believe he can become a good player, but he has to do more with the opportunities he gets. He's regressed since a promising first season. Not expecting the finished article, but I want to see progress. What I'm frustrated about Hojlund is the lack of progress. In the European games, we see it. We see a striker running in behind dangerous players. We saw it when he had the run of 9 games in a row last season. We saw it in the Champions League last season. We saw it in a couple of Europa League games this season. You give Hojlund the ball, he can score. We can see how dangerous he is when he's allowed to run into space. And that's great. There's a player there, Isaac at Hojlund's age wasn't particularly good. You could name loads of strikers that wasn't particularly good at Hojlund's age. And I'm not expecting the ready-made product. I'm not expecting him to be finished. But with Man United in the position they're in, their striker needs to offer more. Because if the striker's not offering goals, he's at least got to get his touch right, or his pass right, or his layoff right. And he's not doing that. And Xerxes, who doesn't score goals either, is at least doing that a little bit better and offering a bit more for United right now. So I'm not saying Hojlund is rubbish and he's a rubbish player. People are saying he's the worst striker in the Premier League. I don't agree with that. He's raw. He's in a bad environment. He's obviously in the graveyard shift, and we do not play to his strengths. But yeah, he's disappointing, he's frustrating, because when there's a young player at United, I'm not expecting the finished article, but there was enough promising signs from Hojlund last season. 16 goals in his first season at Man United in the graveyard shift, in an underperforming side at 20 years of age. There was encouraging signs from Hojlund last season. This season, he's regressed. And that's where my problem with Rasmus Hojlund lies, is the fact he's fully regressed this season. And if you're not showing progress, that's when I start to say, this is worrying, because he has to hold the bench. He's not showing progress, and that's why I'm worried about him, because I'm willing to back the guy, but if you're not showing progress, I can't. Rasmus Hojlund's movement is not good enough. His back to goal play is not good enough. His touch is not good enough. Rasmus Hojlund's good when he can run down the channels, run at people. He's confident. You give him service, he'll score. He's quite a clinical player, but look, we don't play to his strengths. I think he's one of those that would benefit when the system is fully done and we get the wing-backs and we get the midfielders and we can feed the ball to him more directly. But we can't wait for that. We need a striker now. And Barada had this 2 seasons to prove yourself and you're out. Rasmus Hojlund's not safe. One of Rasmus Hojlund or Xerxes, I'm confident will leave in the summer. I don't think Rasmus Hojlund's safe. Long term, he fits the profile of striker that maybe Ruben Amorim want. And long term, I think Rasmus Hojlund can become a good striker. I think people saying he's the worst striker in the league. Let's be patient with the young kid. He's not playing well, but let's be patient. But he can't start for United at the moment. He doesn't do enough. Xerxes is the better striker. Money is needed to invest elsewhere. United have got to sign a striker in the summer. Hojlund could potentially be on the way out. I do believe that. I believe that I don't think he's safe in the summer. I think there'll be interest. He's on a low wage, so I think we can get money for him. While I believe he can become a good striker in the future, he's not offering enough now. And if he was showing progress and little signs like he did last year, I'm on board with it. But this year, I feel that he's regressed, and that's something that worries me. I thought Leach had a good game. I thought Ugarte had a good game. I think they did their job well. I thought the defense was good, but I am a bit worried about Hojlund. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Bye.